I'm your huckleberry.
This is the Smoking Guns Podcast.
No G with a Z, POD, Smoking Guns Podcast, here with you on this June 17th as the season comes to an end for one of our teams.
I'm your huckleberry.
For another, there's that running again. I mean, it's a good song, but
it is a good song.
we don't want to hear it over and over and over again. This is the Smoking Guns Podcast. We are a podcast that deals with professional football in San Antonio. That includes the San Antonio Bahamas of the UFL, Horns Forward, all of that, XFL champions, and the San Antonio Gunslingers of the IFL. My name is Philip Higginbotham. I am part of this crew that joins you weekly to talk about professional football in San Antonio. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, my podcasting sister, RC Woods.
Hello, beautiful people. How are you?
And in just moments, we will be joined by what I imagine is going to be a very
tired,
but also a very, very
enthusiastic.
No, I wouldn't call him enthusiastic, but opinionated.
Okay.
Yamas, as he is just arriving home from St. Louis, literally as we speak. I got a text from him a few minutes ago, and he's like, "I'll be there. Save the good stuff for me," because he's got words, and I think a lot of us have words. We normally cover the team we will see next first, but we're gonna step back from that a little bit, and we wanted to cover. We had a championship game.
We did. Wait, did we? Well, we'll go back. We'll get into that.
We played in a championship game in the UFL yesterday. The San Antonio Bahamas coming up just a little short.
You think so?
25-0, blown out in kind of the worst way possible. And we're going to get into all of that in a few minutes as we wait for Leo to join us. And you know what? I mean, I got to tell you, RC, I'm kind of getting tired of my teams making the playoffs and then not performing up to their potential.
But shouldn't you be used to this? Isn't this the Cowboy way?
Yeah, so I don't need another Dallas Cowboys on my hand. I don't need a team to go all the way into the playoffs, have potential to win the whole thing, only to crash and burn. I have that already. I have it. It's all here. It's all around me. I already have that. I don't need more of that. My Cowboys do that all the time. The potential they have is never what they play to. I dealt with it this year in the NHL. The Dallas Stars, one of the best teams in hockey all season long. For whatever reason, they get into the Western Conference Finals. They lose in 6 games to Edmonton. The Mavericks, at least, who are probably going to be done in the NBA Finals tonight.
Do you know the score will
probably be? They're not playing yet. They don't start for another 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
But they are going to get beat by Boston. But Boston would have beat anyone in the NBA this year. There is no other team that would have played any better against Boston than Dallas has. It's Boston this year and everybody else, and that's fine. Like if you're going to lose the championship, lose it to that people. But to go in to a championship game, look, you're not going to win every championship you play for. You're not going to win the championship every season. I totally understand that. I get that.
Right. I do too. However,
there was no guarantee that we were going to go in and see. James Palmer already is Wade pulled a Norm and didn't have his team showing up. I don't put this on Wade, and we're going to get into a lot of the reasons why. Maybe a little bit, like maybe a little bit because he didn't recognize what was going on quickly enough with his team. But I don't know. I guess one of the things we talked about, Keelan Gillian is really wanting to you got shut out. You were asleep.
That was obvious. Why state the obvious?
We had fans in the dome. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
We have fans.
We had fans there in the dome. One of them that will be joining us very shortly. I don't like that they go up there, they get ready. I guess. So last week we talked about the XFL conference championship gear, and I berated some of you fans for buying XFL championship gear and like crying and getting all excited about winning the XFL championship when there was another level to go. Apparently, there were some players on our team that were just okay with that. They were like, yes, that's all we needed to do. We needed to win the conference championship. We don't care about like the actual league championship. That doesn't matter to us.
Did the whole team say that, or was there just a handful of players?
I don't know. When Leo joins us, I think he will have an insight that we watching on TV may not have seen, because he was able to see the sideline, and he's already told me about some of what he saw on the sideline. And so I think we might get a better picture from him shortly.
Right. Well, I know some of the topics that he's going to bring up. I actually talked about them a few weeks ago, about how on the sidelines some of the players would start dancing, and I'm like, why are you dancing to the music? Like, you should be focused. That's the key word, focused on a goal. Maybe, I don't know, they have ADHD, I don't know, but they just didn't, their focus was lost. It was gone. Poof, up in smoke.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I do see, do you have a new flag on your door?
I do.
Is that here last week?
No, it's not. New door.
I love it. I love how bright it is. It just really lightens up the whole room.
It does. It makes it look pretty good, doesn't it?
I do like it.
So the San Antonio Brahmas head up to St. Louis. They take on the Birmingham Stallions.
Mm-hmm.
And, we knew this game was going to be a battle.
We were hoping.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, we were. That's a great question. RC, you weren't in St. Louis. You were actually out at Fiasco's.
I was.
Clayton, who was up in St. Louis, is asking how the watch party went. How was the watch party at Fiasco's?
The watch party was a big W. They may not have won the game, but we won that watch party. It was amazing. And when I say that, it was lit. We had over 200 people in the Fiasco's bar. 200. And that's not my numbers. That's Warren's numbers. So, they're probably more accurate than me. And there was decorations. I know Warren and Cecilia went earlier, and Heidi and Diane and Desiree. They decorated the whole area with balloons, and they had party favors, and they had clappers, and they had pom-poms and balloons. I mean, it was just amazing.
It looked great. I saw some pictures of the whole atmosphere. It looked great.
Yeah, it was great.
And really showed up.
I
wish the team had showed up as well as Fiasco's did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, and I thought for a second that maybe we would not have the same crowd. One, due to some of the fans going to St. Louis, and number two, the fact that it was Father's Day. No way. All the dads were there. All of the fans were there. So it didn't make a difference. I think it actually doubled. The fans doubled. Yay, safe travels. We're so glad
Leo,
you're back.
all the way from St. Louis, from his hotel in St. Louis to the chair you're seeing him sit in, like that's literally been the journey for him. Started about 4:00 this morning, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
Just so he could be here with you wonderful people and talk about the Brahmas. Real quickly before we started, Leo, and before we get into the game, and I'll use air quotes on the game.
There was a game? Yeah.
We got a guy in our chat right now who is having a great time because I think his Battlehawks lost last week to us, and so he wants to spam our chat and just hit every few minutes. Dude, fair warning right now. You're very, very close to just getting blocked. You can't just spam the thing and run with a bunch of comments. You want to come in and gloat and have a good time. We're all for that. But you gotta check your spelling on some stuff, please, and B, you gotta slow it down, or we're gonna have to boot you, and that's not what I want to do. But this is your fair warning. I've already received some private messages that have asked me to get rid of you, and I'm giving you a warning right now. And if I got to, I got to. Leo.
Okay.
What did you think of the game yesterday, Leo?
Woo! Let me tell you. I'm so tired. I literally just walked in the house, like unloaded the car, walked in the house, and sat in my seat. Great to meet a lot of people out there. First of all, a lot of the Brahma Hawks or the Battle Hawks, Brahma Hawks.
That's a good one.
The Battle Hawks fans in the parking lot, in the tailgate. Very hospitable, very nice. Took lots of pictures. I have pictures that I still haven't posted, but I will post up. And it was great meeting you all. And I appreciate your hospitality, and I appreciate you being kind. And there's some ribbing back and forth, of course, but it's all in fun.
Of course,
they were absolutely great people to hang out with, and Rick and his tailgating crew, and the young lady that was helping him. I'm sorry, I'm tired. It's hard for me to remember names right now. Kirsty. And they were great, provided us with food. By the way, Mariachi was there. He made some tacos, but they had a nice spread and water and shade. Oh my God, it was hot.
Was it?
Hot. Yes. Ed. Yes. Of course, Ed, Big Daddy Ed, Amanda, Dirty, everyone was great outside. I met a lot of new people. There's no way I can say everybody's name, but I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for a great pre-game time. It was special to meet you all and finally make the trip up there and thank.
Did we lose him?
It's a different story.
Did we lose him?
No, I'm here. You got me?
Yeah, we got,
you got me.
We got you.
Okay. Yeah, it was super hot outside. We couldn't wait to get inside. Once the doors were open, I mean, we were ready to get inside because we had to get in where it was cool. But there were people, different group of fans in there, and there were some. Don't get me wrong, there were some in the row that we were sitting in that were cool. There were people behind us and off to the right of us that, I mean, very obviously they just, and I understand, I get it. You're Battlehawks fans. Your team, couldn't seal the deal at the XFL Championship. You had tickets. You're hoping for a home championship game. I appreciate that you were there, though, because that could be,
right.
That could not be said for quite a few Battlehawks fans. So at least you were there, but very obviously very bitter about that, the fact that it was the Brahmas down there. And you know what? The way our Brahmas team represented themselves, I don't blame you for being even more upset over it, because we were upset. The Brahmas fans were upset. We sat there going, what is going on here? Like, this is not what we're used to seeing from this team.
Right.
I got messages from Dirty, like, what is going on? This isn't the team that beat my Battlehawks last week.
No, it was not.
It wasn't. And it wasn't. And I'm just gonna put this out there. I don't really I didn't come here. I didn't drive, I think 700 something miles. Not just me, but Josh was great. He drove most of the way, but was speeding through traffic to get here in time to do this show. I didn't do that because I wanted to sit here and talk about the game. I wanted to talk about our team. I wanted to talk about representing San Antonio. I wanted to talk about representing the UFL and spring football. And most importantly, I want to talk about representing the coaching staff, the players, and the fans. I want to talk about that because even right now, I'm getting a little
fired up.
I'm fired up, but I'm also feeling a little emotional right now because I've had some time, to process, and I'm getting here, and I'm finally at this moment where I couldn't wait to just talk about it, and it's hitting me right here. And I want to make this clear to everyone who's watching, listening, that watches this later. I'm not making excuses. I'm not sitting here going, the Stallions only won because this, and this, the stuff I'm about to talk about. The Stallions are the UFL champions, and deservedly so. Mm-hmm. They whooped our butts up and down that field from start to finish.
They showed up. They played the game, which is more than we can say for some of the guys in gray and yellow yesterday.
Yes, it was. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Birmingham Stallions and their fans and that franchise and their championship. You guys, I mean, you are the champions. You are the best. You proved it. I'm not taking away any of that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is how our team represented themselves and represented the city of San Antonio, represented, frankly, anyone who gave a damn, anyone who cared and put their heart and soul into this thing. And I'm talking about coaches, players, fans, people in the organization, the ticket sales, everyone involved that really had a piece of this in their heart was really let down in a big way. And I'm upset about it. I watched the game. I was watching closely. I was trying to make sense of what I was seeing. And I've been the biggest supporter of Chase Garber since the very beginning. Anybody who watches the show knows that I was shouting his praises at the beginning of the season. He was the best quarterback in the UFL. He was killing it. I told Philip a while back, the worst thing about this is that, having Chase Garbers as the Brahmas quarterback is going to be short-lived because he's going to get a shot. And then he got hurt. And I was upset by that. I was saddened. And I said, well, I read he might come back by the end of the season. We'll see how he does if he's even comes and plays again. But at least maybe we can get him another year because I had become a fan. Coming back, I had someone reach out to me, a close friend of the show, and said, hey, I found a card from a friend of mine that has a sports shop that sells collectibles. And he sent me the picture and he's like, I thought you might be interested in this. And I was like, when I get back, let's talk. Cause I was packing. I was getting ready to leave. Now I don't want that card. I don't want anything to do with Chase Garbers. I don't want anything to do with anyone that would show up and not show up, because watching that game, I was like, what is going on with my team? And I see him slide to avoid contact and barely get the first down. And I was like, wow, that was really close.
First time he didn't get a first down, they gave it to him, but there ain't no way he started that slide before the first down marker. I noted it because I was like, that you don't see that happen very often from quarterbacks. Sometimes you want them to. Like sometimes you would rather them do that than open themselves up to injury. But I noted that, and they gave him a favorable spot and gave him a first down. He did not earn it. It was not there. He did not make that first down.
I wasn't watching the broadcast. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I was surprised by what I saw. And you know, a lot of runs, a lot of what we've complained about in the past with the the little screen plays and everything lateral, nothing vertical, which was not typical when we have Chase Garbers as a starting quarterback. He takes chances down the field. He extends the play. He makes things happen. He wasn't doing any of that. And I couldn't understand. I was like, what are they doing? I was like, okay, they're doing this. They're going to set up the pass. They're doing it to set up the pass. Elizabeth, it was a boring game. Absolutely 100% was a very boring game for Bahamas fans. I'm sure I'm sure the Stallion fans were having a great time. They were a great crowd, by the way, supporting their team there. They were. I kudos to them. I really, really can't stress enough. This is not sour grapes, what I'm saying here. I am not trying to take anything away from the Birmingham Stallions and the reason they won this championship. I am only talking about representing this fan base, these coaches, these players, everyone who loved this team in 2024. So Chase Garbers then does it again. A second time he slides. And this time he slides short. And there's plenty of room. And I'm like, what is going on with Chase? And I'm thinking about it. And he slides short, doesn't get the first down. Go ahead, Philip.
And the issue on the second one is the situation has changed by that point. The first one was in the first quarter. It is, there's still lots of football left to play. You're down by a few possessions on that second one. And it's like, wait, are you in this? Are you
trying?
Right.
I know.
Right.
What is your motivation right now? It became clear that his motivation was not about anything but protection.
No.
Not about anything but avoiding.
Exactly. And I'm sitting there trying to make sense of it. And by the way, I want to say it wasn't just Chase Garbers. It was, by far, that was the biggest letdown. But I'm looking at the sidelines and I'm looking at our players. And you're right. By, 8-0 at the half, we're still in this thing. We're not playing well, but we're still in it. But third quarter comes and, they start to pull away. And I'm just looking at the body language and I'm looking at what's going on our sidelines. And I'm looking at our players, and there's players eating snacks and joking around and laughing with each other. Like they don't care that we're getting our tails kicked on the field. There's altercations because there's some players with passion out there. There's still some. But you could see not what we're used to seeing on that sideline. Like they had lost interest on what they were there to do. They had lost sight. They had lost sight of the objective. And it's like they didn't care. It was almost like some of them were saying, well, I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. And if they don't care, then why should I? That's the vibe that was coming off of that sideline. And I was sitting first row, 30-yard line, almost midfield. I was sitting right behind these guys witnessing it all. But Chase Garbers, and that's when I clicked. That's when I figured it out. I looked over to Josh, who's sitting next to me, Josh and Elizabeth Clayton. Love you guys. Great trip. Thank you for sharing that with us. The canoe crew, we call that. That's a long story I'll tell you about later. But I look over and I was like, do you think this guy got an offer somewhere? Do you think that maybe he's got an invite to an NFL camp? Because it's right around that time. Right. And this isn't the Chase Garbers that I'm used to seeing. And this is the only way that this all makes sense to me. I look over, I'm like, you think that dude is out there? I didn't use the word dude. I'm like, that dude is out there just going through the motions and playing not to get hurt and not even trying to win this game. And Josh looks at me, he's like, that makes sense. And I texted Dirty and I'm like, I told him, and he's like, that makes sense. And we're just like watching this unfold in front of us. And then they finally pull him and they put in Dormady. Dormady, I apologize for every negative thing I said about you this season. Every single thing right now is my meat and crow. I apologize. You went out there and, without the preparation time this week, without the backing and support that you deserve for what you put into this team, me included, and you went out there and gave it your all. You tried to make something happen. And even though we turned the ball over on downs, I texted Philip immediately after. I said that turnover on downs really hurt us. But you know what? It was the best shot we took all night. When he threw the ball into the end zone and it fell, I think it fell incomplete, almost got intercepted. The play before that, he falls over on his butt, he's just trying to make something happen. But you know what? After the game, we came into we happened across a player. I won't say his name, but we asked him. We said, "What's up with Chase Garbers? Did he get an invite to NFL camp or something?" And the response from the player was, "That would make a lot of sense." Because you know what? He hasn't been himself all day. And the defense had to really make a case to pull him and play. There was division on the sideline saying, "Get that guy out of there. We need someone else out there." And the coaching staff finally reluctantly did it. And because of all of this, I'm certain no one on the team knew. Because first of all, I think it's highly illegal, right? It's illegal to be negotiating before your season is over. Like your contract ends the day after, right?
Yeah. So Warren Hubert reached out to us today and said, "Do you think that there might be some sort of consequence for some sort of tampering?" Look, folks, this is the UFL, and the way they sell this to players is this is an opportunity to get film and get up to the next level. They are not going to file any kind of tampering charges or make any kind of tampering noise when the NFL came down and grabbed one of their players. That is a success story for the UFL, and they are not going to short circuit that. So don't hope that there's any of that kind of thing on the horizon. I don't foresee that. And that will play into something bigger that I want to talk about later, because it plays into the viability of this entire model.
Yes.
That I want to talk about later. But I want to do the game first, and then I want to talk about the future of the Bahamas and the UFL, because I think we've learned something here. And I think it's unfortunate, but it requires a conversation by us. But anyway, go ahead, Leo.
I'm going to say right now, I think James Palmer just said a little while ago, someone said, maybe they'll pull the invite after seeing this. I'm telling you right now, I'm a fan. I love San Antonio professional football. I love both of these teams. I've had ups and downs with both at different times, but that's part of being a fan. But the passion has always been there. The support has always been there. And, whoever commented about maybe they pull that offer. If I'm a scout or a coach, even for the team that wants to invite this guy into camp, and I see that, the quarterback is a leader. A quarterback is supposed to be connected with his team. And look, I get that he's a young guy. I get that he's at the age where UFL isn't his ultimate goal. And he's been through years and years of blood, sweat, and tears. His body has taken a beating. But this time of your career, you've been through a lot. I respect all of that. But you know what, Chase Garbers? Go to your team, go to your coach, and take yourself out.
Exactly.
Have enough respect for your teammates, your coaches. Wade Phillips, 55-year career, and this is his shot at his first championship as a head coach, and you don't give him the best shot to get that? That's just selfishness. That is, I can't comprehend the selfishness and the disregard for your coaches, your teammates, and your fans that are driving up, a lot of them driving up 700, 900 miles in 14 hours, putting their lives at risk. Some of them drove through the night. Oh my God, we had some close calls I could talk about. But we're doing this because of our passion, our love for the team, our love for the UFL, wanting the spring football thing to work and to take off. And you don't have the guts to talk to your coaches and take yourself out of the game. I liken it to guys coming out of the NCAA that are going to get drafted, and there's bowl games. Some of those guys don't play. They don't play in the bowl game because they have another goal. And you know what? Some supporters of the teams and the schools, they don't like that, but they understand it. I would have a lot more respect for him if he had benched himself, didn't play, and said, I'm not what gives this team, what gives these fans, what gives my coaches the best shot at winning this championship. This is the week that it all comes down to, everything you prepared for, and you go out there and just go through the motions. You're not trying to win the game. Absolutely despicable, absolutely deplorable, and unforgivable as a fan if that's the case. The writing is on the wall, though. It's really hard for me to believe that that wasn't the case. Some might argue and say, well, he really tried his best. Give the Stallions defense more credit. The Stallions have a great defense, but guys have a way that they play, and that was not the Chase Garbers that we're used to seeing. And when your quarterback is not playing the way he should, when he's not listening to the play calling, he's not trying to throw down the field, not trying to take chances, it affects the whole team. It affects everybody. And that's what we saw. It was a domino effect, and we saw our sideline just implode. Now, the Stallions had something to do. They were the better team, but Chase Garbers gave them a huge advantage. And that's not the Stallions' fault. I'm not taking away from the Stallions. They could only play the team that was in front of them, and they played a shell of our San Antonio Brahmas. And so many people went through a lot of sacrifice to go there and support them. And Chase Garbers stole that away.
Jason Wood checking in on Facebook says that's a lot of speculation to say he had an offer. Maybe he just had a bad day. Well, here's the problem with that, Jason. The XFL analyst, which has not been wrong on anything as far as I know this season, at 9:40 last night, posted that San Antonio Brahmas quarterback Chase Garbers has an NFL opportunity waiting for him per United Football Media. That is the league's media arm. They have already announced that he will be going somewhere in the NFL. They have yet to announce who that will be. So that is no longer, I mean, I guess it still is speculation on some, but it is informed speculation. It certainly looks like he had an offer on the table.
A very thin line.
Do you want a guy like that on your team, though, after watching that, even if you're the one giving him the offer and you see him let his team down like that? So
here's my thing. Jason Wood says, well, then string him up. Yeah, let's do that. So here's the deal. Chase Garbers, I have watched him all season long, and I've said this guy has the talent to make it in the NFL.
Yep.
After yesterday, I know that Chase Garbers will never be anything but a preseason quarterback in the NFL. And you want to know why I know that? Because this position specifically is about how you lead and fight for your guys. And if you're not going to do that, you're not going to make it at the top level of this sport, period. So get used to spring football, Chase Garbers, or get used to preseason camps, or get used to the IFL, or wherever you end up. But it's not going to be in the NFL, not with that kind of attitude. If that's how you play, and you play scared in a championship game that you fought with these guys for 10 weeks, 11 weeks to get to, if that's what you're going to bring, you are not going to make it in the NFL, period. There are a lot of guys that have plenty of talent to be in the NFL that do not have their head right, and you are one of those guys, period. Like, you can fix that. You can change that. You can become better. But from what I've seen from you at this point, you're not ready for the NFL. Are you kidding me? You're not even close to ready for the NFL. You had a chance to win a championship.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what league it is. Doesn't matter what level it's on. Doesn't matter if it's Pee-wee football or my fantasy football team. I get excited about winning a championship. If you can't find the guts to play all out for a championship, get the F out of here, man.
Yes.
You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, there was not even an effort to even try to win. That's what I think everyone is so disappointed. Where's your integrity? Where's your respect? Where's your passion? I mean, I just did not see it. And I hate saying this word, but it started festering into all the other players. They could see that. They could feel that. So you alone brought down the team. Now, why the coaching staff didn't see that sooner and change quarterbacks,
Right.
I have no idea. But it was obvious. It was obvious that he was bringing down the team.
That's certainly conversation. And the other thing that I will hear people say, and I'm sure it'll be St. Louis Battlehawks fans or Birmingham Stallions fans, which again, we're not taking away anything from the Stallions. Most likely, based on the way that they played yesterday, the Stallions win that game, even if we show up and play. Like, that's a game I want to see. I would love to have seen that game where all of our guys showed up and played really hard. I think that would have been one for the books. But
even if we lose, we have something to be proud of, right?
Right, exactly.
And we come home, nothing to be proud of. I see a lot of stuff on social media, on the Facebook groups, and saying, I'm still a Bahamas supporter. I'm proud of my team. Yes, up until last week, very proud of that team. But that was not the same team this week on the side in that field. I witnessed it on the sideline in front of me unfold. It was not the same. And here's
the other thing. So I know that we're going to hear this from people as we litigate this issue over the next offseason of it's just one player. Like, you're just talking about one player. And that's true on one level. And if he were a safety or an offensive lineman or a cornerback, it's just one player. But when everybody on the team looks to one position on the team and that guy's not in it to win it, then 3 or 4 other guys catch that really quickly and they go, wow,
exactly.
If he doesn't care, I don't care. And that just infects your whole sideline before you know it. Nobody cares. And I don't know how the coaches didn't catch this sooner. I don't know when it became apparent. It's funny. It's like they gave him the benefit of the doubt all the way until that second slide. And at that second slide, they were like, wait a second, you don't want to win this thing. It was the moment where it was like, oh, this is obvious now. This is clear now. It was like they gave him the benefit of the doubt all the way up till that. And I guess, like, that's Wade Phillips, and he believes in his players and he trusts his players. And somebody out here
he treats him like family.
Wade. It was just Wade being Wade again. I don't really know how much of this I put on Wade. I think Wade wanted to win this game.
None.
I think Wade wanted this game.
That's another really sad side effect of this, Phillip, is Wade's going to take a lot of the heat for this.
True.
Wade is going to take a lot of the heat from the general public and the fans, the bystanders that are watching and haven't been paying attention to how he's run this team and how this team has performed. They're going to say, "Oh, well, there goes the Wade Phillips thing where it fades away at the end and he can't win the big game." It was not Wade Phillips. And I absolutely 100% agree, Phillip, with what you're speculating of what happened, is that the coaching staff gave him the benefit of the doubt. They care about their players, and they said, this is our best guy. This is our most talented quarterback. This is the guy who we think has the best chance to take us to the promised land, and we're going to give him every opportunity to get out of this funk that he's obviously in. Because, it was all up here. But he wasn't going to come out of that funk because he put himself in it to begin with intentionally.
And look, if you know you have an offer and you know you're not in it and you can't risk your body because you don't want to go, you've got an offer to go to camp and you don't, that's fine. That's a thing. I get it. I understand this is not where you want to be all of your life. I get that.
Yeah.
Walk into your head coach's office, shut the door behind you and say, hey, I don't know how you want to handle this with the team, but 12 is going to be better. Like 12 is going to be a better start today. I just don't feel like I can do everything we need to do, and you guys have worked way too hard. I've got an offer on the table, and I'm scared I'm gonna mess it up by getting injured, and I'm not going to be ready. That's a very mature, and I would have wondered for the rest of my life why 14 didn't start and 12 started instead. And I would have said terrible things about you because you need to muscle up. You need to, but they could have made any number of excuses for you. The injury, the wrist is not healed up the way it wanted to. Whatever. They could have helped you out, man. That's all you had to do was be honest with everybody and say, hey, you guys worked too hard for me to just ruin all of this because I'm scared of getting injured. And that's what he was scared. He was scared. He was afraid. Every time a lineman got through and had a direct beat on him, he panicked because he was scared of getting hit. He was afraid of what that was going to mean for his camp here in about a month. And that's fine. Like, I get the headspace. I understand that I got a chance here to make it in the NFL, and I can't let this game be the thing that keeps me from that. Share that with somebody. Tell somebody that. Let them make the decision to put in 12 or put in 19 or whatever the case may be and move on.
Yep.
It's just sad. It's just sad that the whole season comes down to this. Like, look, I was fully prepared that we may lose the game. Like, you have to be prepared for that. I was not prepared to watch our team go out and look like they didn't belong there. Look, I banned him, the guy that was spamming our chat and was, and he was making jokes about, you look like you didn't even belong there. That dude's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't ban him because he's wrong. I banned him because nobody else could get a word in edgewise on our chat. But really, that dude's right.
Yeah.
We didn't look like we belonged there. And that's sad. That's a sad way for the season to end.
And I feel bad because we have a lot of naysayers who say, oh, I'm not going to, follow the Brahmas for whatever reason. It's not real football. There's not real players. It's not NFL players. Da-da-da. And this just proved their point. And that's what I hate.
Yep.
I hate that because we spent weeks after weeks defending the Brahmas, defending the league, defending the team, defending the players. And one game that y'all didn't show up to, and all those people are like, we told you so, we told you so. And that's what irritates me the most, because we put so much effort, even in the watch parties, even in all the fans, the tailgating, we were behind you guys 110%. And y'all weren't there for us.
Jordan Stubing saying, what better position could he be in to advance? And that's advance his career. Prove yourself here on this stage. Be the MVP of the very first UFL Championship game. Lead your team to victory over the 9-1 Birmingham Stallions that everybody had marked to win this game. You do that,
boom.
And maybe you don't just make a camp. Maybe you make that backup position in Las Vegas. God, please let him go back to Las Vegas. Please let him go back to the Raiders. That's where he came from. You know that, right, Leo?
Yes, I know.
That's where he came from. Hope he goes back there. I'd love to see him in a Raider uniform. That would look good. That would look real good on him. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what this means. The season is over, but the UFL is not. I want to talk a little bit about what we can expect from the Brahmas, what we hope to expect from the Brahmas next year, from the UFL next year, all of that. I want to talk about all of that in a minute. So stick with us. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about maybe the future of all of this and what we've learned over the past 24 hours or so. We'll be right back. Smoking Guns Podcast, Philip Higginbotham, Leo Yamas, RC Woods, talking about the Brahmas and their loss, 25-0 loss yesterday in the UFL Championship. Don't put your horns down.
They were going down. No, you know why I wore this shirt? I wore this shirt because it's fading. Because I know that's how some people are feeling about the Brahmas. It's fading. And I don't like that feeling. I want to be a part of this, something that goes up, 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 not down. What do we need to do for next season? Because it's done, right? We can't talk anymore. We can't change it. But what can we do different? We have to go up from here. This is it. We were low. So now we got to go up. We got to keep that momentum going because we have a whole new season coming and it has to be better. We can do better. And let's talk about how we can do that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the UFL experiment as a whole and spring football experiment as a whole, Leo, because you brought up something yesterday and you've brought it up before. It's a conversation that we've had for 5 years now, going all the way back to the Alliance of American Football. Is spring football viable. And I got to tell you, I think it is. I think it makes the NFL better. But just like RC said in the last segment, everybody that has been the detractors or the naysayers about spring football, man, they got proved right yesterday. Even if they don't know all of this inside stuff, they saw a crappy game as the championship game. And now we know, or we think we know, that is because a guy was looking forward to other opportunities. And is that always going to be the case? Is there always going to be guys that go, well, this is just a bowl game. This doesn't really mean anything. This is just the UFL.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this is me to all those fans. Maybe the guy you just booted is one of them. All those Battlehawks fans, Stallions fans, Steamboat fans, whatever. Everybody who's going right now and going ha to about the situation, what happened with the Bahamas in the game, and how pathetic that was. You're short-sighted. You're not seeing the big picture. What happened yesterday was the absolute worst outcome that could possibly have happened for the UFL. That includes your Battlehawks, your Stallions, your Steamboat, your the entire organization, the entire league, every single team. What happened yesterday really sucks for your team.
Bad X on us.
Really I love that you're always going to call them the Steamboats. Like you don't do it on purpose. It's not even something that you're doing to like jab them. It's just there. They are the Steamboats as far as you're concerned. And I love that. I love that they're not the showboats. They're the Steamboats. I think this works. Like I think spring football works, but I got to tell you, the whole experiment was dealt a big blow to me yesterday because
it was.
I one of the things I've always said is the way you could absolutely make sure spring football works is get the NFL involved. If the NFL would buy this property, whatever it is, spring football, however you put that together, if they would buy it and just make it a developmental league below them, then it would work because they would make sure that there were tampering rules in place and all of those things. Like they would make sure the product was something they could make money on. But as long as there's a disconnect here, I'm not saying it won't work. I believe in spring football, but you're gonna have other moments like this. I don't know that it's ever going to be the quarterback of one of the teams in the championship. That seems above and beyond the pale. But you're gonna have guys that are going, I don't want to risk it here. You already mentioned it, Leo. James Palmer already mentioned it. We already have it in college all the time.
Yep.
Right.
You have guys, out of bowl games, and some of them even out of playoff games. Not as many as bowl games, but some guys don't go and play in the playoffs because they're afraid of injury or those kind of things. And this is, I don't want to play at Alabama. I want to play at, Green Bay. This is not where I want to end up.
Yeah. And this could be a real issue for the viability of spring football and the league, because yes, it can work, but these guys, these players have to, and we understand that a lot of these players are working for something bigger and better, and we support that. We want that for you, but you have to give 100% effort until your season is over here before you can start thinking about that other stuff. That's how you put film together. That's how you put your resume together. You can't devalue where you are now, because if guys start doing that, more and more guys start doing that, nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody's going to care anymore because it's not even a game. It's a farce. And what happened yesterday was a kick in the nuts to spring football.
And honestly, it's short-sighted for players to think that way. Because the thing is, if your attitude, especially after being through the mill once, you've already been through college football and up into Most of these guys are either drafted or they're undrafted free agents, and then they get cut in camp and they wind up in the UFL. So you've already been through the mill once. You're looking for a second chance. To say I'm not going to try until it matters, it matters. It matters right now because people are looking at you right now. Look, there's some scout somewhere that thought he was really on the ball and reached out. Some front office guy somewhere in the NFL reached out to Chase Garber's agent, had a deal done before he played in the championship. And I guarantee whoever that scout or front office person was woke up this morning going, I may have made a mistake.
Yep.
I may have made a big mistake. It won't hurt us too bad because we can just cut him in camp. But this is not the home run I thought it was going to be. And so it's short-sighted of them to say, I'm not going to try until it counts. It counts now. You've already been through.
For me. It counted to me.
Not only. Yeah, it counts to us, but they don't you can't expect 21-year-old guys to think I got to do this for the fans. Like they're just not going to be those.
No,
people.
but you know what? What about your teammates?
Yeah, what about
it hurts them too. And like there's some comments here about that. It wasn't just, it was it wasn't the entire team. There were guys out there playing their hearts out. Anthony McFarland Jr., Beckett, Delonte Scott. There were guys out there that were really there to play and balling out, and they can only do so much. And that's why we saw the outburst from McFarland Jr. on the sideline.
McFarland was ticked, and I wish he'd have just beat him like a
piñata.
Yeah, that's better. My mom used to say beat him like a redheaded stepchild, but I felt like I might get canceled over that now. That may not be the way we can talk anymore.
I like piñata.
That's better. I like that better.
Yes. But you took away a chance from those guys to actually be more productive in a championship game and put something together on film, to maybe get some eyes on them. But they're not getting any eyes on them when their quarterback isn't playing to win. It's hard. It's that much harder for them to do that. It's just selfish, extremely selfish.
It is.
It is horrible.
I mean, that's what it all comes down to, and that's why we're so upset. Is you had a lot of other people, wanting to win a championship, and you had the ability to affect that in your hands, and decided instead to make decisions for yourself instead of for your teammates, your coaches, your fans, and the answer was easy. You're just honest. You're just honest and say, I'm not in this. I'm not in this like I should be. Go with somebody else.
I was going to say, I was worried that we might have to rely on Santoso, and I never once thought that.
Well, that wasn't a problem.
Chase that we had to worry about.
I wish Santoso would have got a shot at something.
No kidding.
Come back with 0 points. I'm going to digress here just a minute because I don't want to forget to mention this. But I wasn't just let down by the players or the team. I was also let down. There's a comment. I'll pull it up here. The blue tent issue. Elizabeth Clayton.
Yeah, what's that about?
So I sit on the 30-yard line here in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome when I watch the games. And we got tickets right about the 30-yard line, but front row over there. So same area. And they have that blue tent that folds up for
the injury. Yeah.
The training tent. Yeah. So they can go and have a little privacy and examine the players if they sustain an injury or something. Well, every single game this season, that tent has gone up. Guys have gone in. They've done what they had to do. They've come out. The tent has gone down immediately. That tent was up for most of the game. Nobody in there. They would go in. They'd walk out. They didn't care. They didn't care about the fans sitting on the lower rows of the 30-yard line. They're paying money, traveled hundreds of miles to come and watch a game, and there's a blue tent doing this, blocking their view from what's happening on the field. You're having to watch up on the screen because you can't see the game that's happening right in front of your face, right down on the field. The blue tent stays up and we're yelling, put the tent down, put the tent down. And they're hearing us. People are turning around looking at us, but it's not their job. They're just kind of looking at us like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not. Apparently, they're not supposed to touch the tent. But the people that normally do it, and it's like it's got to be the same training staff, right? That they have here in the dome that travels with them. Why couldn't they lower the freaking tent? Why did they not care about their fans that were sitting there trying to watch the game? It was so annoying. There were other Battlehawks fans to our left and our right, and they were pissed too. And we were yelling. Some guy actually cared a little bit and tried to get someone that would lower the tent. And they finally came and lowered it. And guess what? 10 minutes later, they needed to use it. They put it back up, got out and walked away and upstayed the tent.
Oh, my gosh.
Paid all that money, drove all those miles, spent all that time, 14 hours in a car to go up and look at a blue tent. Thanks, guys.
To be fair, and your wife mentions it wasn't much of a game. They were kind of protecting you. Like they were kind of like, you don't want to see this. You don't want to watch this.
I don't know what was happening on the Brahma sideline. Obviously it affected everybody because a lot of people were just, they didn't care what was happening. They were not in it. Okay, sorry for digression.
All that being said, congratulations to Skip Holtz. Congratulations to Adrian Martinez. Congratulations to the Birmingham Stallions. You are champions and you deserve it. You showed up and played. I would have loved to have seen the team that you were playing against also to show up and play. And apparently that's not what we get. And I have never been more glad in my life, Leo and RC, that we are not officially connected to the team or the league than I was at the end of the game last night, because I was like, I want to say whatever I want to say. And I'm so glad that I don't have to worry about taking the league off because they don't listen. They don't care. That's fine. We're fans and we're a fan voice. We don't have to be connected to the league and making sure that everything we say is sanitized. And that's great. I cannot believe that is the effort that some of these guys put forward yesterday. It's frustrating. It's upsetting. It's not what we were in it for. And look, to a certain extent, you have to be ready for these kind of things. I think about fans of minor league baseball teams. You can't really care in the minor leagues about championships. Like, they happen and they play, but I've never seen anybody get super excited about, woo, the Missions won a Texas League championship. Like, it happens. And people get excited about it.
Yeah.
But they don't like buy merchandise and like go drive downtown honking their horns because the Missions won the championship. And that's because that's always in flux. And the guys that you have down, at the beginning of the year aren't the guys you're going to have at the end of the year. In fact, it occurs to me that they do playoffs really weird, where if you win the first half of the season, you get a playoff berth, which is so weird that you can clinch a playoff berth in late June in minor league baseball, but you can because it's a completely different sort of system. And so certain amount of this is to be expected. But the effort and the excitement, like I was excited yesterday. My kids offered to take me to a minor league baseball game over in Sugar Land, or take me bowling for Father's Day. And I was like, guys, that's really awesome. Let's just go get some barbecue and eat and then come home, because there's a football game that I really want to watch. And so that was my Father's Day. That was what I was excited for, was going home, getting the big TV because it's Father's Day and it's my day, and I get to sit in front of the big TV and watch whatever I want to watch. And that's what my Father's Day was. And that's unfortunate. And that's nothing compared to folks like Leo and Dolores and Elizabeth and Josh and Mike. Super Mike Steele that went with them, or the other crew that went up there. The
Brahma Bay.
What do they call themselves?
The Bulls on Tour.
There you go, Bulls on Tour. Those guys that got up there to watch that game. They had much more invested than just their Father's Day in that. And for that to be what happens to end it all, it just kind of mars the whole season. It was a great season. I would love to come on here and talk about, hey, do you remember back when we lost to DC and we weren't even sure we would be able to make the playoffs? Like, we made the playoffs. We won the XFL championship. We came up short in the championship game. It happens. But it was a really cool season. But the effort that got put forward yesterday just kind of mars all of that. It just kind of makes me feel different about the whole dang thing. And that sucks. That really sucks.
The one thing that I can positively say is that I've gained some true friendships and a lot of respect for the fans that we do have. Desiree, Heidi, her sister Diane, Warren, Andres, Cecilia, Greg and Kim Nelson, all of those people, we've known them, some of them for almost 5 or 6 years, and they're still plugging along with us. We have some great fans here in San Antonio and willing to give 110% every single game, every single watch party, every single tailgate. And if I've gained anything, I've gained friendship. And so I am honored to say that I've met new people, and I'm honored that I'm still hanging out with some of those old folks, and that's okay. But I just would have wished I would have seen some of that same passion and same effort last night at the game.
Well, it is what it is, and we'll get ready for next season. Warren Hubert on the bright side. Some 200 folks came out to Fiascos. Fox Sports was in the house. It was wild.
Very cool.
We love what we've seen happen. We hope to do it all again next year. But for now, we have to put a cap on the Bahamas season. It ended not where we wanted to be, but let's all be really honest. If I had told you at the beginning of the season that we were going to run all the way into the championship game and that we would come up short in the championship game, you'd have taken it. You'd have absolutely said, I'll take that for a season. After last year going 3-7, not making the playoffs, you'd have absolutely taken the season that we just had. Could have been better, but you absolutely would have taken this. And so horns forward all the way. We never go down with our horns, RC. Forward, just has to be forward. But that'll put a cap on that season. I'm not saying we won't talk about them again, but we certainly will. But that ends the season for them. And now we get to move into the back half of the season of the San Antonio Gunslingers, and things are getting tight, folks. If you're I saw somebody today that posted their post from the beginning of the season, and they said, well, I guess I have nothing to do on the weekends now until football starts again. Wrong. You could always start showing up at the Freeman Coliseum and being with the San Antonio Gunslingers faithful as we move into the back half of the season and fight for the playoffs in the IFL. And when we come back, we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to get it past this taste in our mouth and go with a slightly less taste in our mouth. We actually had a win.
We had a W.
And we're going to talk some about that and one of the gutsiest coaching decisions I have seen all year? Question mark? We'll talk about it. Smoke Guns Podcast. We'll be right back right after this. Smoke Guns Podcast. Filipino out of Leo Yamas, RC Woods. I got a bone to pick. The San Antonio Gunslingers go up to Massachusetts and they win 52-51. Yeah. Great game. Great coaching decision at the end that I want to spend a little time talking about. But first, I have a bone to pick, and it is with the Massachusetts Pirates.
Learn
to stream a football game and learn to enter the statistics for the football game that you failed to stream. If you watched the game on Saturday night, you will know that for half of the third quarter, the stream was dead. Didn't exist. Wasn't there. Couldn't find it. No idea what was going on. Both teams scored, I think, during that time, based on the score. I would love to go back to the stats and go, well, at least I can see who scored and what happened in that time that I'm missing. And I pull up the book today, And the Massachusetts Pirates, the home team, is responsible for entering the statistics for the game, have yet to enter statistics for the game. So now I've got half a quarter that I can't see, and I got half a quarter that I can't account for because I've got no stats. Come on, guys. This is the IFL. If we were in the NAL or we were still down in the AAL or something like that, I'd be like, well, that's the way it goes. But that's not where we are. This is the IFL, and to not do one is frustrating, but to not do both is driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Get your act together, Massachusetts. And this isn't the first time Massachusetts has had problems with their feed. I, like some of you, watch IFL football beyond the Gunslingers, and they have kind of become a joke around certain parts of the IFL watching fandom because they often have issues with their stream. It often does not work very well. And I would, this is great. Michael Wayne says it's not their fault. They only have one eye.
That's true.
The patch. Yeah.
I get it. No, totally. I absolutely get it. But I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that they don't have my stats for me. I'm frustrated that I missed half of the game. But the game was a win. And a win against a pretty good football team. Here's something crazy, Leo. If the San Antonio Gunslingers were in the Eastern Conference of the IFL, they would be the 3rd seed.
Wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
Think about that.
As it stands, we are in the 6th seed. We could have been helped out last night by a Bay City win over the San Diego Strike Force. That did not happen. San Diego instead pulls out the win against Bay Area, and now we are looking at a 6th seed, and we need to win. We need to win. We need to win, and we need to hope some things break for us. But the best thing for us right now would be a win. Jordan Steubing says, yeah, it was infuriating to find out that San Diego couldn't just lose like they're supposed to lose.
Darn it, they didn't get the memo.
And Jordan Steubing says, has the deck stacked against us from the jump. What is nice about this, I've kind of looked at some of the schedules, and the San Antonio Gunslingers went through kind of a gauntlet at the beginning of the season where we played really, really good teams all right in a row. It turns out some of the guys we have to play for playoff seeding, like the San Diegos and the Arizonas and Northern Arizonas, they get that gauntlet on the back end of their schedule. So we may see things start to even out a little bit. Probably, maybe, hopefully. Alex McSwain saying what is true. Western Conference is tough. Johnny Salazar, if the Gunslingers win out, we have a good shot. Strike Force and NAS schedule is favorable for us, and that's, kind of what I was just saying. And Elizabeth Clayton saying we could have used the quarterback for yesterday.
Oh, for sure.
Sam Castronova wins that game. I don't know if that's true. I will tell you right now.
He may have. You never know.
Yeah.
Sam Castronova on the broadcast, which I already maligned because they didn't do they didn't have a full game on their broadcast, but I did notice that they mentioned very casually that they had heard some talk about Sam Castronova being an MVP candidate, and both of them agreed that that was reasonable to them.
Yes.
So he is getting noticed beyond San Antonio for the numbers he's putting up, which are just unreal.
Astronomical numbers, yeah.
Just unreal. And will be the reason that this team gets led. He had a crazy play. If you haven't watched the game, you need to go back and watch the game. Both parts of it that are there on YouTube. But he had this crazy play where he throws, he escapes a rush, runs around in the backfield for a second, throws the ball. It bounces off 2 different people's set of hands and winds up in his receiver's hands. I immediately sent a text over to Ralph Judkins and said, MVP, MVP. And he sent back to me, lucky, lucky. And that's both of those things are true. Those are not mutually exclusive. You can be the MVP and you can be lucky at the same time.
Sometimes you need both. You need skill and a little bit of luck.
James Palmer mentioning that they referred to Sam Castronova as Thunder Thighs. They did. That is accurate. That is accurate. End of the game. Leo, I know that you were on the road, and so I don't think you had a chance to watch a full game, but I know that you watched the end of the game. And let's talk a little bit about the last few minutes of the last minute of that game. The Gunslingers score.
Yep.
And they have an opportunity to kick the extra point to tie the game at 51. And Tom Manas says, nope, we're going to go for it.
Go for two. Go for the win. Loved
lose.
it.
You like that? You like that?
I did.
Decision?
I did because they were. Huh?
Show your work. Why do you like that so much?
Because you're on the road. You're playing a winning football team.
Yep.
You know, you don't want to stretch this out. You have them on the ropes right here, right now, because you had just come back from being 10 down, just a couple of minutes ago. You score, you get the deuce. Don't forget Stevens getting the deuce to and the extra point. So that's a 9-point swing right now, right then and there. Then you get lucky because you give up the score, but they miss the extra point. And so that's why you're in this position, right? So you're in the position to steal the game away while you have them on the ropes instead of trying to just extend it, and give them a chance to recover. And I thought it was a gutsy play. I think it was the right call. And it got a little scary there for a minute because they had to run the play more than once because of some penalties on Massachusetts. Thankfully, on them, not us. And it was the right call. And I at the time that he made that call, I was thinking that it was absolutely the right call at the time. Did you disagree, Philip? RC?
I agree. I think
what did you think of the call?
We were already in a good momentum. Go with it. Yep. Go with it. That's my thinking. You made the right call.
I will say this. Head coach Tom Manas and I, for whatever reason, seem to have some sort of contentious relationship. We like each other. We enjoy each other. But he thinks I question him a lot. And I guess that's fair, but that's also part of my job as a fan and as a fan voice in whatever accounts for media around the Gunslinger. Somebody gotta, and sometimes that's me, coach, and he doesn't like that, and he's not a big fan of that. Okay, that's fine. So everybody make sure, because everybody seems to make sure that when I question him, he finds out about it. I need everybody also to make sure that they forward this part to him. That was the gutsiest, most genius call on the road against a good team. You've got the chance for the win. And look, we can say that in a vacuum. Everybody says that in a vacuum. Everybody in a vacuum watching a game as a fan or disconnected from the game can say, yeah, on the road against a good opponent, you go for the win. You don't go for the tie. But that's a completely different deal when you're the one that is going to get the guff or the praise, depending on how those guys on the field respond, how they run whatever play you send in. It's gutsy.
He believes in his guys, though.
Yeah, it's gutsy to say, I believe in my guys enough that win or lose, I'm going to give them the opportunity to do this. And I think there's a lot of coaches out there that say they would do exactly what Tom Manas would do. But I think there's also a lot of coaches where I don't want to overstate this, but season-long implications on the line. Every loss right now is magnified. Any loss puts us further behind in this playoff push. And so it is really easy in a vacuum to say, well, of course that's what I would do. but the guts to still do it, to go with his guys and call not just one play, but 2 different plays for he and James Fuller, for him to make the decision, for James Fuller to set it up, and then for our guys to execute and convert on the 2-point conversion and take the 1-point win on the road away from Massachusetts is huge. Ralph Judkins brings up a great point. 2-point conversion backed up by a deuce attempt. If you fail on the conversion, you do have an opportunity to put some points on the board. He says we dispelled the ghost of the San Diego loss. Maybe. James Stubing saying we got super lucky. Luck is always part of it. Luck is always part of it.
We need both.
And he also says that made him nervous. The call to do the 2-point conversion made him nervous. There's an honest fan right there. There's an honest part of the team, honestly, right there that says, look, I don't know that I would have had the guts to make the same call. And that's what I'm asking people to think. Don't put yourself in a vacuum and go, yeah, of course that's what you do. You're on the road. You got a chance to win the game. You win the game in regulation. That's what you do. Put yourself in Tom Manas's shoes in that moment and realize that everybody is going to judge you based on this call.
Oh,
and still make the right call.
But this is from the same coach who who has a good kicker and doesn't elect to kick field goals, goes for it on 4th down every time.
That
takes a mentality, though, an aggressive mentality. I'm not surprised. I'm not so surprised that he made that call, and I stand by. I think he was 100% the right call.
Chase Risman checking in. Chase Risman, part of the media out there that covers the team, and I'll remember what site he's with here in just a minute when he reminds me. Sorry, Chase. It should be right in front of me, and it's not. Saying Sunday's game is crucial. More than that, I think every game from here on out for the Gunslingers is crucial.
Every single one.
I mean, we're going into Prescott to play Northern Arizona. That is a huge game because these are 2 teams. These are 2 of the 5 teams that are fighting for 4 playoff spots. Chases with sports coast to coast. And that's exactly, and he reminds me as well. Thank you so much, Ralph and Chase, for letting me know because it just wasn't coming to me. Jordan is absolutely right. Had it not paid off, we would all be talking crap. The challenge of being in coach's position is something I would never want. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be a coach and I don't want to be an official. I want to sit right here in this chair and with my headset on at home games. That is as close to the game as I need to be because, I don't think I could handle being a coach. And I know I couldn't handle being an official. I want people to like me too much to be either of those things.
Well, if I couldn't be on a podcast, the only other place I'd want to be is on the cheerleading squad. So there.
Buck Wayne Davis says, I think going for it on 4th down always pushes your players. They develop consistency in 3rd and 4th down plays. I like the fact that we go for it on 4th down and that we always know, and the players know, everybody knows that on 3rd down, we don't have to get it all. We need to get some of it. We need to get most of it, but we don't have to get all of it because we're going to take the chance on 4th down to get there. Absolutely. It was a good game. It was a nerve-wracking game, and I got to be honest with you, folks. I don't think that there's going to be a difference going forward. I think they're all going to be nerve-wracking.
Down to the wire.
We got Northern Arizona on Sunday at 5:05 Central. That game will be on YouTube and maybe even in its entirety on YouTube.
Maybe. One can only hope.
Sure, there will be a watch party over at Main Event. I think it'll be at Main Event North again. That's where they've been having them up to this point. And make sure. Going on 4th down, Ralph Judkins says, rattles defenses. We have the number 1 best 3rd down conversion rate. Are these stats related? Maybe.
It's a good point.
Michael Wayne Davis, every game is nerve-wracking. Can you say hypertension? Yes, I can.
Yes.
And And my doctor can too, and he says it a lot, and I wish he'd stop. Like, I heard that word already. Use a different word now. And he won't do it. He just keeps telling me something about lisinopril and hypertension. I don't know. I kind of zone out when he's talking about that. James Palmer says, I'd rather be where we are than that other NAL team that joined the IFL. Just saying. It's important that we take this season and hold it up to the championship team that came with us. It is important that we recognize that the Jacksonville Sharks are like 2-9 in the bottom of the easy division. They're in the easy division. They're in the East. Like, they could actually make the playoffs over there without much, I don't want to say without much effort, but a lot easier than we can here in the West. And they are reeling and have been reeling all season. We are the better team of the two. And that's fun. Like that, if nothing else, there's that. That's fun, you know?
Yeah, this team has, like you said, on a weekly basis, you're like, oh, here we go again. And you're on the edge of your seat or all the way to the end. But I will say this, I have a lot more confidence when we're in those situations at the end of the game. You can see the progression of this team. They have learned how to win these games. They have learned how to count on one another and learn how to, even when you're down 10 points in the fourth quarter, you still, as a fan now, we have that they're not out of it, but they have that mentality. They have that mentality as well. And they've backed it up, and you've seen that progression at least of where, they never believe that they're out of a game. When it's close, if it's close at the end, they're figuring out ways to get the W, and it's it's the fans have come to expect it as well. But that doesn't make us any less nervous. So, yeah, it's definitely some a lot of hypertension.
A lot. I tell you what. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll start walking through the rest of the schedule, not only for the Gunslingers, but for some other teams around the IFL, and see what we need to hope for and what we need to pay attention to as we move through this end of the IFL season, as we push toward the playoffs. And Michael Wayne Davis, by the way, is absolutely correct. The defense has gotten better.
Much better.
Much better. And that's been a big help during this kind of struggled a little bit. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about the future for the Gunslingers and the future in the IFL. We'll be right back. Hang with us, Smoking Guns Podcast. Stay right there. Smoking Guns Podcast, Philip Higginbotham, RC Woods, and an absolutely exhausted Leo Yamas, who has been driving for 14 hours, traveling for 14 hours, and now finds himself in front of a microphone talking about football. But where else would you want to be? I mean, really, is your bed that interesting? Is your bed calling to you that loud right now after 14 hours?
He's fading.
Right. I am fading, but no, I mean, this is what this podcast is about, right? It's about our love for professional football, and we could have pushed this show another day. We've done that sort of thing before, but with everything to talk about and everything that happened this weekend, I just did not want to do that at all. So I'm here.
So, and I love it that we all have our different perspectives because we are different places. Like, I was at the watch party, Leo, you were at the game, and then Philip, you're watching from home. Again, all different experiences, and that's what we bring together as the podcast, because any of these fans could relate to at least one of us because they were in that same situation.
Yep. Agreed.
San Antonio Gunslingers will go into Prescott, Arizona on Sunday night, and Chase Risman said something about it earlier. It's a big game. It's a big game.
Every game.
Currently, the standings. Go ahead. Oh, I thought you said something. Currently in the standings, the Gunslingers are 6-5, We are in the 6th spot in the West. The 2 teams below us, the Tucson Sugar Skulls and the Duke City Gladiators, have been eliminated from playoff contention. So we are the next in line to get eliminated, but it's going to take some time and it's going to take some effort to get out of that hole. Northern Arizona, on the other hand, is 7-4, which means, and I'm no math genius, we've had this conversation multiple times, but a win in Prescott would make the Northern Arizona Wranglers 7-5 and the San Antonio Gunslingers 7-5. And you're like, well, a tie, how does that help? Because let me read you the rest of the Northern Arizona schedule. San Antonio Gunslingers this week. The following week, the San Diego Strike Force. Then the Bay Area Panthers in San Jose.
Tough game.
Followed by the Vegas Nighthawks.
Brutal game. That's a tough,
that's
a tough schedule.
Behind the Gunslingers game, that is 3 really tough games. And they currently hold the number 4 spot. Yeah? Let me make sure I'm not saying this wrong. They currently hold the number 4 spot in the West.
Yes.
So a win over them that ties you, sends you into the last 4 weeks of the season with them playing. I mean, they played Duke City to close out the season. I don't think Duke City is a concern. But if you keep winning, my thought is they're going to lose 1 or 2 or maybe all 3 of those games. And if that's the case and you've set yourself up tied with them, you're going to overtake them as you move through the season. If you keep winning, every game needs to be a win from here on out.
That's the key.
Every game. Is that possible, Leo?
Yes. Of course
Northern
it is.
Arizona, Frisco at home, Massachusetts at home, Tucson on the road, and Arizona here in San Antonio.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Is that 5 wins?
It's going to be tough, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you got Frisco. That's already a rivalry.
Yes.
And that's gonna and then you have the Pirates that are gonna want revenge for stealing that win away over there. Tucson, I think, a very winnable game, but it is in Tucson. Right. And then at home against Arizona, I think that's another game that we should win. But I mean, Arizona is 8-4.
Arizona's coming on strong. Arizona, at the beginning of the season, I wasn't impressed by Arizona, but as we've gone through the season, they've gotten better. They've gotten, I think there's a big.
What?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's the date on that Tucson game?
The 13th of July.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
I think there's a possibility. And not an exactly small possibility that the game on the 20th against Arizona might be for all of it. Like, you win that game and you're in, you lose that game and you're out. Like, I can we are that close to the line that I think we could wind up in a situation where we have to win the final game of the season to get into the playoffs. And then you get into the playoffs and you're going to have to go to San Jose, which did not go well for us the last time. Or you're going to have to go to Vegas, which did not go well for us the last time we were there. I don't know. The first thing you got to do is make the playoffs. I mean, the first thing you got to do is just punch your ticket. San Diego is falling off hard. Like, they started out really strong. They beat us to start the season. Then they just have really fallen off. They are not the team.
They should have lost. They should have lost. The first game. Yes.
But they didn't. They beat us.
And then they should have lost to the Bay Area Panthers too.
Right? Why won't they do us any
favors?
Help us. Chase Risman says they did just beat the defending IFL Championship Bay Area Panthers in San Jose. That's true. That's accurate. But, I mean, they started out really, really strong, and their record, at least, has fallen off. They are outside the playoff picture right now. If the playoffs started today, one of my least favorite things in all sports is the whole trope of if the playoffs started today. They don't. So it doesn't matter. Whatever you're going to say after this doesn't matter because they don't. But if the playoffs started today, San Diego would not make it.
Wow.
They would not make the
Nope.
they are just outside by half a game. And that's all it takes. And we are just behind them by another half a game. So
we're gonna have to squeak in. Yeah. It's not gonna be easy, but it is possible.
We talked a little bit about this last week. Playoffs are nothing, right? Like playoffs make it a successful season. Yes.
Yes.
We did talk.
I believe so.
Not just a winning record. It's got to be playoffs.
Yes, but winning record and just missing the playoffs. We've learned some lessons this year. Like, I don't think Gunslinger fans are going to walk away from the season disappointed.
Not at all.
I'm afraid that a winning record and missing the playoffs will make that San Diego game to start the season haunt us for the whole off season. Like we'll always think about, if we had just held on and won that game, would it have been different? At RC.
I was just going to say, and maybe I'm asking this for some other fans. Now that we are no longer covering the Bahamas, is the game the show from now on going to be 1 hour or 2 hours?
It will be abbreviated. It will have to be because I just don't think we're going to talk about the San Antonio Gunslingers for 2 hours. That's probably not going to be the case. So yeah, I'm sure it will start being a little shorter, which is not a bad thing. Like we say what we need to say and we go. We don't need to belabor the point. Leo, what do you think? Yeah, I think you agree. I think you'd probably agree with that. Like shorter shows are not a bad thing.
Probably not. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, unless there's a lot that happened in that game that week, but for sure 2 hours is a lot of time to talk about one of the teams. So maybe an hour to an hour and a half is fine. Sufficient.
Now, the San Antonio Gunslingers are not only doing cool stuff on the field, winning games, winning over and over. And how many games in a row have we won now?
4?
4 of our last 5. That's pretty good.
That is good.
Pretty good. Leo talking Bahamas is much see podcasting. I think Leo's tired of talking about Bahamas for a little while.
I could take a break.
They're doing great stuff on the field, but they're also doing great stuff off the field, right, RC?
That's right. So we have that 6-shooter dance camp. It's going to be on June 23rd from 10:15 to 2:30. I know we talked about it last show that the fee's $85, but you get a lot for $85. You get lunch, you get practice, you get a t-shirt, and we're still waiting to hear from some lucky person who would love to go to the camp because us as the Smoking Guns podcast would like to sponsor someone. So that is key. That all these arrows, yes. So contact April. I know that they're still looking for people to come and join the camp. It's going to be so much fun. I attended last year, and I know Francesca helped out a little bit as an intern. So if you know someone who would really enjoy being part of a team, being part of a cheerleading squad, the girls are not just cheerleaders, they're role models. And they're great, positive role models. So if you have a granddaughter, a child, a neighbor, a niece who's thinking about, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, sign them up. This is good fun. It gets them off of that electronics. It gets them out of the house. It gets them something to do, and they can probably make some really good friendships and meet some really good role models. So think about that. 6-shooter dance camp, June 23rd, from 10:15 all the way to 2:30. You would definitely get your money's worth. Contact April or Cassie, who is also the coach. Or contact us so we can sponsor your child.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was going to say thank you for bringing that up, RC, because in my tired stupor, I would have shamefully forgotten to mention that not only is the Smoking Guns podcast going to sponsor one child for this camp, we had a very gracious donation from some very awesome people that are friends of the show, great friends and incredible people who wish to remain anonymous. So that's all I will say about these people, other than they're awesome. That have donated the cost to sponsor another child, and
That's amazing.
said take care of this for us. We remain anonymous, but I said I gotta put this out there, and they said, well, you can put it out there, but we'll keep the anonymity, and I just love you guys. That's awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 available sponsorships for cheer camp, and don't miss what she said. The camp is on the 23rd, and if you look at a calendar right now, that is this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So make that happen. They also have a football camp coming up. James Palmer reminds me. I don't know that we have a lot of details about that yet, but yes, as soon as we have details, we will also get that out there for kids to enjoy as well, and we will also sponsor kids for that also. So
I love that we can give back to the community.
Yeah, so absolutely reach out if you have a kid or a child, a grandchild, kid in your neighborhood, your niece, your nephew, one of your friends has somebody that would benefit from that, and go for it. Reach out to us at Smoking Guns Pod, Smoking OG Guns with a Z, POD, and we will get them set up and sponsor them. April Stubing checking in says July 15th for the football camp. So there you go. July 15th. Announcing more details this week for the football camp, by the way.
Awesome.
So
great. Awesome.
So I'll tell you what, let's take one more break, and when we come back, it's our favorite segment of the night. It's going to be the favorite segment of the show like ever, because it's the last one, and it means he gets to go to bed soon.
Yes.
Poor Leo.
He is pretty worn out. We're going to come back right back, and we're going to talk about bull spit and bullseye. I'm just going to let everybody know right now. I think a lot of us are going to have the same bull spit.
Yes.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of variety when it comes to the bull spit side of things. But bull spit and bullseye is next. Get your votes in for your bull spit and bullseye, your favorite and least favorite moments in San Antonio professional football this weekend. And we'll be right back. Smoking Guns Podcast. Hang with us. Smoking Guns Podcast. Philip Higginbotham, Leo Yamas, RC Woods. Final segment of the show. And this is where we talk about our favorite and least favorite moments in San Antonio professional football this weekend. And there's not going to be a lot of variety when we come to part two.
Probably not.
We're going to start with Leo, so he doesn't fall asleep on us. We got to get him talking. You got to get him moving. He's been up for 14 hours driving back from the championship game. So, Leo, what's your bull spit and bullseye? I could take a guess on one of them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start with the bull spit so I can get that over with. But absolutely, it's Chase Garbers and anybody else who let down this team, who let down their fans, who let down this city, who let down really any fan of spring football. because, like we said earlier in the show, the effects of this, it didn't just affect our Brahmas and this fan base. It affected everybody that follows this league and this UFL, because I mean it when I say it. What happened yesterday was the absolute worst possible outcome for everyone in the league, outside of the Stallions, because congratulations to them again for winning the first UFL championship. But even the Stallions, in a sense, it was just, I would never have dreamed that was going to happen. And saw it happening right before our eyes. There is some
Around the
speculation
tent,
here.
you know,
Yes, around the tent. Speaking around the tent, there's some speculation here. Yes, but I don't suspect we're going to hear anything otherwise because of the writings on the wall. I mean, it's there. It all adds up. Absolute bull spit, and good luck to you, Chase, in your next opportunity. Yeah, that's all I'm going to
I'm not gonna
say.
say that. I'm not gonna say
Good.
that. I don't wish you good luck in your next opportunity. I don't.
Bless your heart, Chase Garbers. Bless your
There
heart.
you go. There you go.
Okay,
All right. What about a bullseye?
bullseye. It's multifaceted, but it's the unity that you experienced with the fan bases and the fans and the people rallying around, just the excitement of the moment before the game, with the reception we had at the tailgate, and everyone that was just so nice and hospitable and truly excited to be there, even though they didn't have a team, in the race. I have to, I really appreciate that, and I have to, really extend that appreciation to everyone. But in particular, and this is what really kind of hits right here, um, the one of the things that I said in the bull spit and that bothered me the most was what this opportunity that was wasted for Wade Phillips. Part of that excitement, part of that group of people that joined us and were just so thrilled to be there was Wade's family. You know, uh, we had breakfast with his brother-in-law. They stayed in the same hotel that we were at, and he came out and saw us in the lobby area where they had the breakfast. And he said, "Do you mind if I sit with y'all?" And he came and sat with us, and we talked a lot of good, football, historic football, in Wade's long career, and just the things that he witnessed and places he'd been and people, he met, and we had a great time. And then we go out to the tailgate, and we're there, with the Battlehawks fans, and we look up, and here comes Wade's sister, and I'm sorry, I'm very tired, but
DG.
remind me of D Jean,
DG.
thank you, and his other sister and other family members, and they all came out, including his brother-in-law. Who I'm sorry, I just can't think of
Vicky.
names right now. Vicky, yes, but they came up, and it wasn't DG who first came up to me, but they come up to me and they said, "You're Leo," and I said, "Yes, I am." And they said, we wanted to come and say hello, and we wanted to take a picture with you." And that was incredible. That was an incredible moment for me, for those people to actually come out and just want to spend time with the fans, but actually remember the experience of when DG came on the show and spent some time with us. And I'm just a guy out there. I'm just a fan that loves football, and to share that experience of that moment with these people, and they, believe me, they were just as excited as everybody else about this. They were just as hopeful, just as excited. They thought they were about to witness another great moment in Wade's career, and and we were so happy to. I'll take that with me the rest of my life, to spend that moment with them and all the Battlehawks fans and the Stallions fans. I met some great guys out there. It was just such a great thing, and they were a big part of this. And it made me really feel bad, really feel bad for Wade Phillips after the game. But that doesn't take away from the moment and that experience of being able to share that with each other. And that is my bullseye definitely for the week, and one of the best, bullseyes of the season.
Sure.
Because it really was great. I'm sorry to kind of ramble on about it, but it's just emotions coming out. It was great.
Right.
So yep.
RC, how about you? Bullspit, bullseye.
Well, the Boltsville, you already know, right? It was the disappointment of the effort, the disrespect that Chase demonstrated, not only to himself, to the team, to the league, to the city, to the fans. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because it's going to have a ripple effect on not only the Brahmas, the other teams, and the league. And so that's what's disheartening, I think, the most, that he just was thinking of himself and his own actions and not thinking of how that's going to affect overall, right? Again, I hate those people. Hate is a strong word, but that are so negative about spring football. Oh, it's not real football. It's just like high school. He proved him right. It proved him right. And that's really hurtful. But that leads into my bullseye, which is the watch party. I mean, the effort that everybody put in, the effort from Fiascos, the food that they provided. I did a live video of all the pastas and the desserts. Everything they could do, they went above and beyond for us, for the fans. And we repay them by bringing 200 fans into that bar. That's the most they've seen in years, they said. Ed, which is the owner, said the most in years. And when I had gone to, I think there was a second watch party there at Fiasco's, Ed had asked me, he goes, RC, what can we do to bring the fans? And I was like, win. We just got to win. And the Brahmas did that. We did that. We won. And so much fun. Fox was there. Every table was crowded. Everybody brought something. I brought fruit. Someone else brought pasta. Someone else brought, I think it was Sloppy Joe's. And everybody was family. And that's the best outcome, like I said, from this whole season, is the relationships that we have formed. And I do want to thank all of the Brahma Mamas from the bottom of my heart, who's always been there for me, supporting me, Desiree making T-shirts, making flags that say Brahma Mamas, all the people who brought one can, and one can was all we needed because someone else brought a can and someone else brought a can. And we were able to give back to the community. And that's what the whole purpose of the Brahma Mamas and the podcast is. We're bringing people together. We're bringing football and fans and families together to bring and increase the team, the league, but also the community. I think about the high school kid who's watching or possibly listening to this podcast, who's going to some of the games, who are saying to themselves, I want to be that player. I want to play for the Brahmas. I want to play for the Gunslingers. And that's why I'm doing this. I want to be everybody's team mom. I want to be the best cheerleader. Of course, I'm not going to be in a two-piece, but I want to be these teams' players, cheerleaders. And that's my role. So I want to thank the fans of the Brahmas. Thank you, everybody who has helped us to do that. Because together we should really have one goal. And that's not to promote ourselves, but to promote football in San Antonio, so we can help those other high school players who have a dream. That's all I want to do. I want to help them achieve their dream. And if I can do that by talking on this podcast, by hanging out at the tailgate, by hanging out at the watch party, I'm your gal. I'm your cheerleader. I'm your Brahma Mama. So thank you.
Alfred Rodriguez, the mission highlighter. Bullspit, Brahmas not scoring a single point in the championship game. Bullseye was meeting and hanging out with RC at the Missions game this past Friday night.
Nice.
Yeah, I did go to a baseball game.
You're somebody's bullseye. Look at that. Mo
Look at
Ferrante
that.
checking in. Bull spit, lack of effort by some of the Brahmas, not taking the opportunity to go for the field goal when within range. Bullseye, Gunslinger going for 2 to lock the win down. Jessica Palmer, Bull spit. Us mixing the beginning of the third quarter of the Gunslinger game. Bullseye, the catch DJ Myers did and getting the win. And then we got a nice long one here from Jordan Stubing of the Gunslingers. He says he'd like to extend an invitation to any Brahmas fans that aren't yet Gunslingers fans. You're amazing and invaluable. We're all football people. Please bring your passion and energy to the rest of the Gunslinger season. We can't begin to say how much we will appreciate and cherish you. We are all one big family, and we need as much support as we can get. His bull spit, we're not united yet. We're not yet united, but his bullseye is we still have time. We still can be. I would echo that sentiment. If you are upset because there's no more football to watch, you are wrong.
That's true.
There is still football to get excited about. We got 3 more home games and maybe more as we head into the playoff push. Go ahead, Leo.
I was just going to make a comment on that. Elizabeth and Joshua Clayton, who made the trip with us, they were part of the canoe crew. Elizabeth said out loud, she said, "What are we going to do with our weekends now?" And I said, "You have to join us. Come join us at the Gunslingers games."
Absolutely.
And they are planning to do so. So
Very
you
cool.
know they're excited to come see more football and join us, join the Gunslinger posse. So I'm very excited for that. They went to bed already. They messaged me, but I'm very happy that they will be.
What,
we will
they're
be seeing
tired
more of
too.
them.
God, what's with all you
Yeah.
people being tired?
Yeah.
So it's my turn. My bull spit is Chase Garbers. I'm not going to pull any punches here. You quit on your team. You quit on guys that depended on you, and you left them hanging out to dry. And so many guys followed your example and decided not to play their best game because you decided that you were going to give minimal effort to the game. You dragged down yourself, you dragged down your team, you dragged down your coaches, you dragged down the fans that have cheered for you and believed in you all season, and you dragged down yourself. You did this to yourself, and I hope you figure out really, really quickly what you did wrong. And I know you're never going to apologize for it because the time is over and apology means nothing, but I hope you learn something. I hope you look back years from now and you go, man, I really made a mistake on Father's Day in 2024 when I didn't bring my all and help my brothers compete. I'm not saying you would have won. You might not have. You were playing a really good football team that came to play. And so you may have still lost. And you may have even gotten injured or gotten hurt or gotten beat up. But you would have appreciated, you would have respected yourself a lot more in the long run had you showed up for your brothers. And so that's my bull spit, dude. It's you. A guy that we have been so excited about, thought the world of up till this point. It's you, man. You're my bull spit of the week. And I know you won't ever hear this or probably won't ever hear this, and that's fine. But you are it, man. You are the bull spit of the week. You are the thing I don't want to see ever again in San Antonio professional football is an attitude like that. Bullseye. My bullseye is the gutsy call it takes. I know I think it was Mo already mentioned this. The 2-point conversion. I realize, I think I mentioned this earlier. I realize that everybody says that's the way it's supposed to go. You're supposed to go for 2 on the road against a good opponent. But in the situation that you were in, Coach, you made the right call, and it was not the easy call to make. The easy call to make is to go for the tie and hope that things break your way in overtime. That's easy. That's easier. And you went with the tough call, and you had the guts to put your reputation on the line, because I guarantee there would have been fans of the Gunslingers that really would have questioned that call had it not worked out. And you know that, and you're aware of that. And so you made the call. You made the right call. Whether you were successful or not, it just turns out you were successful, and it led to a 1-point win for your team. Jay Washington, Bulls bet the championship game, especially that quarterback. Bullseye, the Gunslingers keeping playoff hopes alive. Also, Sam, the Gunslinger MVP, Castronova's fourth quarter. Sam Castronova is playing incredible football.
Yes, he is.
Incredible football. There's a guy I'm not worried about letting his team down.
No.
I think that guy is leaving it all on the line
Never.
every week.
Will never happen.
It's not going to be something that happens to that guy. We are the Smoking Guns Podcast. We are a podcast that deals with professional football in San Antonio. We are available on social media all over the place: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you call it. To find us, all you have to do is type in at Smoking Guns Pod. That's Smoking OG Guns with a Z, P-O-D. If you want to email the show, nobody does, but if you want to, you can email us.
I dare you.
Pod, right? At smokinggunspod@gmail.com. That's Smoking OG Guns with a Z, P-O-D. We are brought to you by some incredible folks that partner with our show and make sure that we have the funds to not only keep the show on the air, which is a big part of what they do, but also that we have a little bit extra left over so that we can do things like sending kids to cheer camp and sending kids to football camp in the summer. Those patrons that spend a little bit of their money every month helping us make the show go is Alfred Rodriguez. You've seen him as the mission highlighter all night long on our feed. James Palmer, who I think went to bed. You guys, you're going to bed and tired. God. Jay Washington, Jordan Stubing, James Stubing, Kim and Greg Nelson, Mo and Iris Ferrante. Also, I always want to give a shout out to Jaden Palmer, who got me my Gunslinger foot. This is hard to do. My Gunslinger football. I always want to bring that guy up. He may not be a patron, but his family is. Yeah. And he makes cool things happen for me. So James didn't go to bed. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I saw you say goodnight earlier. My bad, James. They are amazing people. If you want to be a part of that list, we have room for you too. You can go to patreon.com, smokinggunspod/smokinggunspod, and you will sign up at the $5, $10, or $20 level to support our show. Mrs. Highlighter says, sorry, I was distracted during the show. But did RC mention that the IFA press conference she attended last Thursday? She has not talked much about that. And we'll be honest, we're kind of holding off on that because we might want here in a couple of weeks to do something big and have a big name on the show with us to talk more about the IFA. So she did head out to the IFA press conference. She made some connections, and those connections may lead to something really cool for us to put together on the show soon. So we're kind of downplaying that. Thanks, Alfred, for pointing that out and ruining the surprise for everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not true.
But we will try to put something together here in the next couple of weeks with a big name and have some conversation with him about football in San Antonio and the air raid offense and all of those things. Oops, I may have ruined the surprise. But we will have more information on that. She did go out, did make some connections, got to meet the owner, got to meet the coach as they get ready for a season that starts in the summer next year in June. In outdoor football, true outdoor football in June in San Antonio
University.
Yeah, at the Incarnate Word University at Tom and Gail Benson Stadium. Woo! That's going to be warm. That's going to be a warm way to play some football right there.
It is, yeah. But we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But we'll have more information with that here in a couple of weeks. With all that being said, we got anything else to cover?
I'm going to a Cubs game.
Oh, nice. Nice.
You're going to a Cubs game?
I'm going to Chicago for 10 days.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to the Cubs game versus the Mets. Go Cubbies.
Go Cubs. I mean, I guess. I don't like the Mets. Any of you paying attention to the NBA Finals? The
score? Is there a score?
The clock is winding down on the Dallas Mavericks season. 75-50, 9:32 left in the third quarter. The Mavericks are getting absolutely trounced by 25 points. I think Boston is going to hold the trophy up tonight. Is what it is. Is what it is. Like I said at the beginning of the
effort.
like I said at the beginning of the show, I truly believe that there was nobody in the NBA that was going to beat Boston.
Right.
Like Boston was just the best team in the NBA this year, and anybody who came into these finals were going to get kind of knocked around by Boston, and that just is the way it is. And sometimes you have teams like that that just absolutely run the league. This year happened to be Boston's year. Hopefully next year it's the Mavericks' year, right, Leo?
Yeah, no, no, I don't think so.
Well, that's what we know about professional basketball. But when it comes to professional football, no matter where it's played, up in Massachusetts, out in St. Louis, over in Jacksonville, or all the way over in San Jose, when it comes to professional football, unless it's a championship game where our quarterback has another offer on the table, when it comes to professional football, the 210 has got something to say.
Bang, bang. That's very tired.
Yeah, I'm tired. Nothing's came to my nothing clever came to my mind. Real quick. real quick. I have been asked to explain, because it has come up a lot for people that follow us. What the heck is up with this canoe thing?
Oh, yeah.
So
people were asking. So I'm going to explain the canoe real quick on our trip up there. I don't know if anybody's ever had this happen. We had a couple of very strange, scary instances. A guy with his stalled car walking across the highway in Dallas in the middle of the night, because we left at 10 p.m. and drove through the night to try and get there early on a Saturday. That was the first thing. And later on, as we're getting through, we were closer. I think we were already in Missouri, or maybe we were in Arkansas. But I've never heard this before from my navigation. We use Waze, and it comes up and it says, it gives you warnings about upcoming things, and it says warning, next 0.7 miles has frequent reported accidents, or something along those lines. It basically is saying there's not usually it'll say, warning, or look out, car on a shoulder ahead, or danger reported ahead in road, like debris or something. But it said warning for next 0.7 miles, frequent accidents occur in this area. First time I've ever heard that, and I was like, what could possibly happen? As I'm driving through it, because I was driving at the time, and I said, what could possibly happen in this area? It was a little bit of a curvy, but it wasn't bad. There was a lot of, it was almost like in a canyon. But I was just like, what could be, so dangerous about that right here in this spot, so many accidents could occur. And then we turned the corner, and there's a truck on the side of the road that has some canoes on the trailer. And one of the canoes is in the middle of the freaking road, middle of the highway.
Oh my God.
And the guy is dragging his canoe off of the highway, trying to get it off the road so he can load it back on his trailer, I'm assuming. And as soon as I asked that question, we turned the corner, and there he is. And Soup Mike Steele is sitting in the back seat, and he goes, "That's why, a canoe." And I said, yeah, I guess if you're going to canoe in the middle of the highway, that could cause some accidents. And when you're sitting in a car like sardines for hours on hours, you just find stuff to talk about and entertain each other with. And the canoe jokes and references just kept coming. There was a video at one of our, a stop soon after that we were at a gas station, and Lolis and Mike were acting a fool. They sit in the chairs and they're pretending that they're rowing a canoe. And it just piled on and more canoe stuff. But it all started because I was wondering what in the next 0.7 miles could possibly kill me. And I turned the corner and there's a guy with a canoe in the middle of the highway. And yeah, I mean, that could kill somebody.
Most definitely.
But sure.
We got around that and we used it for the rest of the trip, and it was great. So Now you know the story of the canoe, and it's become a thing apparently.
Very cool.
That's funny.
Well, those 10 of you that are hanging out with us, thank you so much for your time. And you get to hear the canoe story. Other people will miss that. That will not be on the show tomorrow. That will just be for you folks. Missions Highlighter said, did anybody get that gunslinger belt buckle tumbler yet? I'm sure some
Not
people
yet.
did, honestly. And he says, hey, speaking of tumblers, I won't come out and say I won the lottery, but there will be signs. I'll be carrying him a belt buckle tumbler if he wins him the lottery. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share and all of those things. And download the episode tomorrow so that we can count you and count your numbers for the show. Thanks so much. 78-52 now. It's getting worse as I watch it. This is not good. Bye-bye to the Mavericks season. That's okay. They made it all the way to finals. That's something. All right. Good night, folks. See everybody. Oh, sign up for Kick for Cash.
Oh, that's right.
When we get back to the Freeman Coliseum, everybody wants to kick for cash. Nobody's made it yet. You could be the first. We'll see everybody later. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Love y'all.
Love.